Hello, fiber friends. Welcome to another episode of the Knit, Knot, and Weave podcast. My name is Dorothy, and this is my little corner of the YouTube where I document and share my fibery adventures with you all. That could be anywhere from knitting to crocheting to spinning or weaving or yarn dyeing or any other crafty rabbit hole that I go down. So, if this sounds like your cup of tea, grab something to keep your whistle wet. Grab something to keep those magic hands of yours busy, and let's get started. So hello friends. This episode is going to be a little bit different from my prior episodes as I am participating in the 12 cast-ons for 2026. This is I don't want to necessarily say it's a mal because she's not giving away prizes. It's just, this is something that Angela from the Yarn and Yarn podcast has been doing for a while, and she shares it every year. She usually starts casting on the day after Christmas. It's either the day after Christmas or Christmas Eve. I never remember. And she can cast on up through January 31st. She casts on 12 new projects to keep her busy for the next several days, weeks, or years to come. She just likes to set herself up for the year. So that is what I have decided to do this year. So if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. I so enjoy spending this time with you. And if you are a new viewer, welcome to the crazy. So without further ado, if you would like to find me out on the interwebs, I will post something here where you could find me on Instagram and Ravelry. And we will get started with my first 6 cast-ons for 2026. Hello, so I am getting ready to start my first of 12 projects to start in 2026. This is following Angela of Yarn and Yarn's podcast, where she does 12 cast-ons to start off the new year to knit in that year or in coming years if you don't finish. So the first one I am casting on is my jaunty scarf or jaunty shawl. And I had spun up, I had a fiber advent from Hedgehog Fibers last year, and it's a true combo spin because we had she had 6 different bases in her advent, and each base was not duplicated. Each base was used 4 times. So here is my massive chunk. I just did a little test knitting of the half fisherman's rib, but here is my chunk. All those colors. What I did when I spun up this yarn is I went through each box. So there were 24 boxes with, I believe there was 20 grams of fiber in each box. And I split each box into thirds. And so on the first spin up, I went through days 1 through 24. And then my second bobbin, I went backwards and started with day 24 and went up to day 1. And then for my third spin, since I did do this as a 3-ply, I mixed up the columns so they were out of order. And the reason why I spun it up in this manner is because I had put a question out on my video. I can't remember actually if it was on my video or if it was on Instagram, and someone made the suggestion that because the bases are different, they could spin up a little bit differently, so you may want to mix it up to try and get a more evened out final yarn. So that's what I did, and I absolutely love how it turned out. It is probably approximately a DK weight. So for the jaunty, oh, and it's got 489 grams total is what I weighed this big hunk of. And I believe it was, and I completely forgot to bring it down. No, I do have it. It is 684 yards. So it's a mix of fiber, and here I'll share the fibers with you since I have this. There was superwash BFL, silk, glitter, Corriedale, superfine merino, baby camel, Rambouillet, BFL, sari silk, which I'm not very good at spinning, superwash merino, and some cashmere. So I weighed it. So my starting weight is 489 grams. So that's almost 5 skeins of yarn. I'm very happy with how this turned out. Anyway, so I'm getting ready to cast on my first of 12 cast-ons. It's going to be the jaunty, and I just did a little test knit to see which needles I'm going to use. And with the half fisherman's rib and the weight of the yarn, I am using size 5s or 3.75 millimeter needles. These are my signature needles, and I am going to cast it on while I watch one of Angie's episodes of what she's casting on. So let's get started. It helps if you read the pattern correctly. so far. Boing, boing. Loving how this feels. I still have quite a ways to go, but Angela's video is over, and I think I'm going to continue this, and I will show you how far I've gotten at the end of the night. Good morning. It is time to cast on project number 2 for 2026. So last night I cast on for my jaunty, and I forgot to record where I stopped for the evening, so because I was tired. So here it is. This is my jaunty. And this is how much I've gotten done. I'm really loving the way the fade worked out here. Totally unplanned, because I already told you the way I spun up the yarn. And then this brown section came in, and now it seems to be fading lighter. So I can't wait to see what this looks like finished. But that's for another time, because today it's time to cast on my second project. My second project is going to be the Andrea Mowry's Traveler Shawl. So here we have it. Okay, and I have decided to use, actually I shouldn't say I've decided to use, I am using some hand spun that I spun up during Tour de Fleece last year. This is BFL from Feederbrook Farms. I bought, I think it was 2 pounds of their yarn, and I've spun it up, and I think I have about 800 yards, so just under what the pattern calls for, but I'll make it work because I have another bag of BFL if I need it. So I did a little, I won't say a test knit, but I did try to figure out which needles were going to be best for the yarn and my project. And since I was still a relatively new knitter, a new spinner, my yarn is quite thick and thin, so I had tried with the 7 as the pattern requested, but I felt it was a little too tight in some areas, so I went up to a size 8, and that seems to have worked. So without further ado, I'm going to watch the Andrea Mowry tutorial on how to set up this shawl, and I'll catch up with you after I have started. Maybe I did too many cables.
So there is our
too many
baby
cast-ons.
little beginnings.
Maybe not. I don't know. I have to check that again. setup going. This little thing here still bothers me, but after looking at some projects online, I guess that's because they're going to get picked up later. I'm not quite sure. But now I'm going to go into the pattern repeat, and I am going to watch. I just had it here. What am I watching? Stitches in Starlight. I'm going to watch Tashi's 2026 knitting plans. And when that is over, I will get back with you guys, because then I'm going to have to do some housework. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, folks, so I have completed two repeats of the pattern. So here I am. It feels a little dense to me, so I might, when I pick this back up later today, I might try a size 9 and see if that's any better. So anyhow, that's where I'm ending for now. I will, not sure if I'll be back later on today or not. I have some house chores I need to do. Right now I need to go have lunch, and we'll see what happens. If I don't pick this up again, I will either come back and do an outro, or maybe I'll cast on a third project. All right, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye-bye. Hello, and welcome to cast-on number 3 for the 12 cast-ons of 2026. So today I am going to be casting on the Traveler's Carol by Andrea Mowry. Get these out of the way. Here we go. And once again, I am using hand spun yarn. So here is a skein of Shanika wool from the Yarn Jam. It was one of her podcast colorways, and I can't remember which one. But anywho, I'm going to go ahead and cast this on this evening. I'm using size 6, and these are my Carbon Interchange. And I'm going to watch some YouTube podcasters and catch up. It has been a crazy week back at work so far. I've been out for 2 weeks for the winter break from school. and went back Monday only to find that the heat was not working in the media center. So my assistant and I were working in a room that was about 60 degrees. When I came in on Tuesday, turns out that whatever they did on Monday did not stick, and it was still 60 degrees. Luckily, though, the air or the heat was working in my office and the back workroom. I don't know who did the system in this school, but it's messed up. So I wound up having to close the media center because it was going to be just too cold for the kids to work in, and it was going to be too cold for me to sit there and be able to watch the kids while our plant manager tried to figure out what was going on, because apparently the blowers that were supposed to blow the air in were not working. But they were working in my office in the back room, so at least I was comfortable while I did behind the scenes work in my office. And today it was a little bit warmer out, so I don't know. The thermostat still said 64 in the main part of the media center, but again, it was about 60, 65 degrees outside today, so that could be why the media center felt normal. So I guess we'll see what happens tomorrow. But anywho, I am going to go ahead and cast this on for now, and I'm going to catch up on some YouTube. Come and join me. Just wanted to catch you guys up. So I have finished, what did I do? 5 repeats of the beginning. So here I am on my traveler cowl, and I'll be putting that aside and figuring out what to cast on next. That was Shanika wool with Tweety bits in it that I had spun up. You can see all the colorful Tweety bits in there. It's super soft. It's I think it's a merino rambouillet mix sheep. I can't remember. But anyhow, I did the 5 repeats, and then I think I'm just on to no more increases. I think it's supposed to be steady for the rest of the pattern until it connects. So I'm gonna put that aside for the night and head up to bed, and maybe I'll see you guys tomorrow night for project number 4. Who knows? Good night. Hello friends, and welcome to project number 4 of the 12 cast-ons for 2026. I was originally just going to do the first 3 projects in hand spun, and then I was going to do the rest in stash yarn. But as I was searching through Ravelry projects for some ideas for something different, I came across these mitts, and they are called the Cozy Cuffed Mitts. Let me enlarge that so you guys can see it. And I have decided to use another hand spun that I have. This is the dyer is, I believe the dyer was called Sweater Weather, And this is her Puntas Arenas merino that I had spun up. There is approximately 140 yards here. Now, the project does call for between 160 and 180 yards of DK or worsted weight. This is a DK weight, and I'm going to try and make it work. So the pattern calls for size 8s, and I have 8s right here. I was trying to decide if I was going to knit 2 at a time or 1 at a time, and I don't know yet. I guess I'll go ahead and just do 1 at a time and cross my fingers. Let's get started. Stop here and maybe get some lunch and do some housework, but I am about halfway up the cuff. I am enjoying this. I can't decide if it's a little too loose yet, because I feel like it might be. I don't know. I may wound up taking this out and going down 4 stitches and seeing how that works. Anywho, if I get back to this tonight, I will share some updates with you. Bye for now. Hi folks, editing me here. Turns out that I lost the footage for project number 4. I don't know what I did. I don't know what happened, but I don't have the footage. So instead, I will be putting in some pictures. I'm so sorry. Well, hello and welcome to I believe it is day 6 of the Yarn and Yarn podcast 12 cast-ons for 2026, of which I am participating in. And I'm sure at the beginning of this video, I explained all about that. So today I have decided to cast on for a crochet cardigan. It's called the Low Rider cardigan by Iron Lamb. Here is a picture of it. And here is what the back of this sweater looks like. I thought it was a very neat and simple cardigan. I have only crocheted 2 cardigans, I have only ever crocheted 2 garments in my 30 plus years of crocheting. Now I have done tons of crocheted blankets, of which I have never ever swatched for. But since this is a garment and this is a garment for me, I am going to swatch because I don't want to make it twice. So I have never done a granny swatch before. The pattern actually directs you to a video tutorial that Iron Lamb, I don't know her actual name because it is not on the pattern. It's just under Iron Lamb. And she created a video tutorial on YouTube on how to do a granny swatch. And it's called Making a Tension Swatch in Granny Stitch. So that's what I'm going to watch and make my granny swatch. Now the yarn I am using is from Sublime, and this, I purchased all these multicolors that I have here when a local yarn shop was going out of business. I had no idea what I was going to do with all these colors, but they look just so pretty, and I can't even tell you the huge discount that I had for this yarn, and so I bought it. And then I can't remember where I got this from. In Stitches in Alexandria, Virginia. I don't remember buying this, but I have a whole bunch. I've probably a decent sweater's quantities worth of this pretty chocolate brown yarn in the Sublime base. This is extra fine merino DK, whereas these are all baby cashmerino and silk DK base. So they're all DK bases, so they should work together. But because I don't have too much of the brown, I do have an extra skein of this pink. So this is what I'm going to make the swatch in. So I'm going to get started. So here is my little granny crochet swatch. Next up is to measure it, and Iron Lamb also has a video out for that, which I am about to watch, and it's called Measuring Your Granny Stitch Tension Swatch. So for this particular pattern, the gauge is 5 times 3 double crochet groups and 11 rows equals 4 inches. Now, I'm going to measure this before I watch the video. See if I do it right. So here we have 4 inches across, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 double crochet groups. Uh-oh, I have an extra one. I wonder what that means. And let's see, 4 inches down. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rows. Okay, so I have the 4 inches in height, but I don't have the 4 inches in width. So does that mean I need to go up or down a crochet hook? Let me watch the video. Okay, so I made another swatch and I went up. So I was originally, the pattern originally called for a 4.0 millimeter, and these are my tulip crochet hooks. And so that's what I did this in, and I was getting the row height, but I was not getting the width. So after watching her how to measure a crochet swatch, her suggestion was, if you were not getting the correct number of clusters across, to go up a crochet hook. So that's what I did. So luckily I had a 7.5 US 7, well, yeah, I guess it is a US 7, but a 7.5 millimeter. And I made another swatch Interestingly enough, my row gauge is the same, and I am getting bigger granny clusters, but I'm still the pattern calls for 5 to 4 inches, and I'm getting like 5 1/4. So I don't think I'm going to go up anymore. I think I'm going to stick with the 4.5 millimeter one. Now the pattern, interestingly enough, to make the granny squares that go down at the bottom, in the pattern, it suggests that you go down a crochet hook size. Where did I see that? Yeah, so it calls for a 4 millimeter hook for the main part of the pattern. Then it calls for a 4.5 to do, I guess there's portions of the pattern that are done in slip stitching. But then it says to go down to a 3 millimeter hook for the granny square, or size needed to obtain gauge. But I don't know if that means it's the same gauge as what I was getting on the swatch or not, because the gauge for this pattern only has this on here. So maybe what I need to do is do a swatch of the granny square and measure that, because the granny squares are supposed to be, each square should measure 3 3/4 inches across. So I guess that's going to be my next step. Okay, so I knit a granny square, and I did decide, I went down to the G hook, the 4.0 millimeter, and I measured it, and it's exactly 4 inches across. So just a 1/4 inch larger, which I think is okay, because when I was doing the main swatch in the 4.5 millimeter, I was about a 1/4 inch larger in the gauge. So I think it will match up when I go to sew them together. I hope. Anyway, I am going to put this project away for the evening. Maybe I'll make one granny square, but I am tired. I probably will not be getting back with you guys this evening. This is project number 6 out of 12. So tomorrow I am probably going to smush and edit all these videos together and hopefully have it up for you guys to watch on Monday. So on that note, I am going to wish you all a good evening, or if you are watching this in another time zone, good morning or good afternoon. Whatever it is, wherever it is you are. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm just tired at this point. So, without further ado, bye. Love y'all.